and I'm around 6 yards away, and my quad just goes, and I go face first into the that like super like rough track surface,
Oh
lose
no.
all the skin on my left side of the arm. I don't even finish. So I think I was on pace to get like
Yeah.
a
I think you had it.
518. I'm gonna say it
The
was a
first 6 yards,
518. I
yeah.
was gonna beat him.
One, two, three, four.
Hello, all. A quick interruption to make note of our two discount codes from our awesome sponsors so you guys can go get you some good gear at a discounted price. The first one is for Hook and Gaff. You can use the discount code LOVEGOLF15, all one word, and the number 15 is just the digits. That'll get you 15% off of your order. And then for Criquet shirts, you can go and use For Love of 19. That's FORE. And then again, the digits for 1919. Hope you enjoy. Go get you some cool stuff. That'll help them know that we sent you. And we hope you enjoy the goodies. Thanks, everybody. Welcome back, everyone. Another episode of For Love of Golf. Hunter's here, Ryan's here, and we have a guest, Justin Fabley. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to see the whole team is assembled. Um, boys, it's getting springtime. I've been watching Masters highlights.
Oh, that's the best.
It's so good.
Dude,
I
I
don't, do you guys
saw
sit and watch those?
uh,
They're great.
100%. I saw somebody post it the other day and I still need to go and like really look at it. You can literally watch every shot from
Yes,
like the
that's new.
past is like how long is it back till
It's
though?
a long time.
That is
I saw that.
crazy.
It's like every shot since, is it like in the 60s sometime or
Something
something?
crazy. And I just want to go back and like I mean like I have no idea what the final round of the 86 Masters actually was like. Like, obviously, I've seen the highlights of Jack, but like, I don't really know the context
See,
of it that much. I want to go watch that whole thing. That'd be
we'll
incredible.
go watch Miller Barber's third shot into eight from 1968.
Totally. That would be incredible.
That is pretty wild. They're unbelievable. And it's just such a great time of year.
The
I
like
love
the historian side of that, like how they've been holding on. I mean, obviously they've held on to that footage, but just like the archive footage that they have, like I would love to know the history of that. Like, is that a guy's job? Like, that's wild. Is that a person's job to just is that the CBS? Is that like I don't know. Is that Augusta? It'd be interesting.
everybody's, I guess. They
Yeah.
recently hired for I don't know if you would call it a club historian role,
Yeah,
but something similar at Augusta National within the last maybe 6 months or so.
yeah, it's
Um,
pretty cool.
yeah, what a place. I'm pumped. I'm ready. We're so close. But before we get there, we had the Valspar last week. No, he's walking off. He had a tough finish and he's just walking off and leaving us in the dust. Who's got the Ryan, if I'm not mistaken, you have the results from last week. Is that correct? And it's the old-fashioned mute button.
Oh,
Got
right.
him.
I have the leaderboard pulled up. I don't remember who everybody picked. So,
I have the picks if you got the money.
all right, let's go.
Well, let's just start with the top here. Thompson, I believe that was Davis Thompson that was chosen by
This is a
Hamilton
fortunate
Hunter
pick
Brown.
again. I think there's a Hunter Brown curse going on. He went six over on the second day.
Five under, then six under, or
Yeah.
six over.
Really?
$24,115.
24,115.
Yep,
Hmm.
That does hurt.
that
Okay.
was
Um,
reminiscent
we're
of Finau the week before.
yeah, except half the money. Um, we will skip down to Ryan Martin, Sung J M, who looked like a
Uh,
strong pick for a while. Still a good week.
yeah, these wire to wire guys can't seem to get the fourth round together, but 382, 958.
You're just stringing along a really solid season here, bud. You've already made 6.2 million. Congratulations. Fabling's right there though. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took the lead. Okay, Jacob Bridgman,
161, 525.
61, 525. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, Justin was not in attendance last week. He used one of his skip days. Don't have many of those, but he used one last week. And when you do that, unfortunately, in the one and done, you get stuck with last place guy who made the cut. Now, we really haven't decided if you get to pick your person or not, but we did not get a pick sent in on the text line from Fabling. So what we did is we took every guy, our statistician for the week, got every person that was, I believe it was at one over um, that week on that was the cut line.
Yeah.
Um, I have put those names into a random name generator, a generator, which I now cannot find on my 509 open tabs. So I've got to search for it real quick. If you will give me just a second here, fellas.
Ryan, do you
This is
remember the
not
names?
going
What were the
well.
names while he's looking for that? I don't remember what the names were.
Well, there's like 10 of
There's a
them.
ton
Oh,
of
there was
them.
a bunch of them. Okay, I got
Yeah.
you.
There's a ton of them.
It was Whaley, Cauley, Thompson, Streelman, probably a different Thompson. It couldn't have been Davis Thompson,
No, it
but
was him because he was 500 6 over. So yeah, it was him.
I guess it was.
Yeah.
Streelman, Schmid, Novak, M. Kim, Bezadenut, Hughes, Vanderland, Perry, Wu, Yeager,
Yeah.
Chatfield, Rogers, and Ewert.
Yep.
Ewert.
I have the names upon a wheel. Justin, you give me the yeah, and I'll hit the button.
Is that the sound that stops it?
Yeah, you have no, that's the sound that starts it, but you have to say it
Oh,
like that, or it
oh,
won't
okay.
start.
All right. Yeah.
Eh, one more time.
Yeah.
There we go. That was good. That was good. Thank you. And ooh, I get to be the first one to see. Ooh.
I, I,
Oh, it just slid off of Andrew Novak
I
and went
think that's
to,
the one I wanted.
is that Michael Kim?
Yeah, I think that's the one I
Are you
wanted.
kidding me?
I knew that was
Are,
going to
Uh,
happen. Like I had an actual pick, and he's going to make more money
we
than
said that was a possibility.
yes.
You know,
yeah, he went three over, two under, one under, two under for a T30 and
He
51,142.
did.
Unreal. I'm glad you didn't get Jaeger though. That would have been
Can
300 and
you
some thousand.
can you give me that number again?
That was 51,142.
Okay. Congratulations, Justin. Great pick.
At least it
Unreal.
wasn't Collie.
you know
And
the one thing that hasn't happened yet is I don't think anyone's picked someone that's missed the cut.
nope, not yet.
Not yet.
It's gonna happen though.
I'm gonna miss next week just so I don't have to pick and probably do better.
Yeah, Hunter's sour about that. He does not like the fact that
He's
you
had two
doubled
weeks
him
in a
up.
row of good first round, terrible second
Yeah.
round.
Listen,
Uh,
that it was a shame. This was a shame that I missed this one because it's at a course where I worked.
Yeah, and here he goes.
Yep.
And I
I
was
would have
gonna
picked
pick.
Paul.
Who were
Yeah.
you gonna pick?
Well, I almost ended up I was on the Ryan Martin plane and I was at the beach last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I was actually very close to Innisbrook and thought about going one day, but we couldn't make it work.
Hmm. Copperhead. Yeah, your former place of employment.
Is that
Great.
internship number one, 3 months?
That was
Great. I like the scoring there. What was it? It was like, was it 11 under or something that won?
11,
Yeah.
10, 9, and then a few at 8. So it was
I mean,
tight.
I prefer it even personally. I like it when it's even harder than that, but it's 11 is so much better than 30. Like
it.
it just brings so many more people into it. I feel like it's just such a
That's such a
better.
weird take. I never understood that one. I don't get why it matters.
Oh, it matters so much. It's not, it's just like a ugh.
I mean, I would agree that I would like it to be a little bit different each week, but I don't really care if it's 24 under. It doesn't
I
really do it for
do.
me.
I can't stand it. I
They're
don't know
good.
why. They are good, but I mean, it's like there's so many. I guess it's because it's like there's so many ways that it could you could make it to where it's not 30 under. And it's like they want it to be 30 under sometimes. And I'm like, let's get golf is hard for everybody else. Like, let's make it a little bit harder for these guys. That's just
Yeah,
me. That's
yeah.
probably sour grapes.
Uh,
I'll
the worst is when you go play a course where they shoot 30 under and you shoot 80, and then you
Yeah,
just
and you're
feel
like,
terrible about
yeah,
yourself.
dude, that is my life at Holston Hills. I go to Holston Hills and I'm like, this place is not that easy. And then they go play the Corn Ferry event there and absolutely torch it and go for like US Open qualifiers and stuff. And you got to shoot like 64 or something to get through. And it's like, this is not that easy. But I think it's a lot more to it than just this. But I think like the difference that hitting the ball 20, 30 yards further with a driver makes is just like it makes it so much easier when you're hitting wedge and not 7 iron.
On that course especially too, because like I mean, it's open, it's not super
Yeah.
long, and the defense of that golf course is 100% the green complexes and around the green. So if you're hitting a wedge into it, and especially when they're firm and fast, that makes a huge difference out there for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So that's
I
absolutely,
got to get stacking. I
yeah,
got to,
just need 20, 30 yards. That's all.
yeah, me and Matt Fitzpatrick and maybe even better for me, Steven Yeager.
Yeah,
Hashtag
exactly.
cricket.
Get on that speed training, Parker.
Yep. I did it one day. I did the assessment.
One
Now
day.
I'm gonna have to reassess. I'm gonna have to reassess because it's been so long. I've probably slowed down since I did
I did
it.
speed training one day.
Yeah, I did it. I tried it. I don't know that I picked up any speed. I only did it
I
for one
trained for a
day.
marathon one day. I only got half a mile in, but
That's kind of like trying to
That's
run the 40
I
on
was
your
getting ready to
45th
say, yeah,
birthday.
exactly. Made it 6 yards
Uh,
in.
yeah, that's a good one. All right, we got to make picks for this week. Texas Children's Houston Open Memorial Park Golf Course.
no Scotty.
Everyone's here. Let's see who won the week. Of course, Ryan won the week last week. So, Ryan, why don't you take your pick?
All right. I will go with smart money's on Sam Burns. I'm gonna go with a guy who's been hot most of the year and just go Marco Penge.
All right.
Dog. That was good. That was one of my guys.
Who you still
Let's
taking?
see. I can still take him.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing well. All right, let's see. I finished second last week. I you know what? I'm gonna be a homer
Mm.
and I'm gonna take Steven Yeager. He
I
won
like it.
here 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He's a cricket guy.
Yeah, good vibes. Good vibes for that
He's a
pick.
good vibes guy. Good vibes guy, as the youths would say. Uh, okay. Let's see. Justin, you finished third last week, so you get to go next.
Unreal.
Nice.
He also got more this week than your pick last week.
You guys know the March is March Madness time, so it makes me think of this. You know the dog, like the little corgi that like hits the ball and picks the teams by which one he makes the basket in up on the stairs. Have you ever seen those videos? You ever come across your algorithm?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, it's basically like,
Yeah, I know what you're talking
like
about.
the
Yeah.
idea of like, hey, an animal picking something to predict something, right? Well, that's what I should do because
No free ads
apparently,
here, Punxsutawney Phil.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
We're not going to mention your name.
Because apparently picking blind would be better for me than actually picking someone. So
Do you want us to put the whole leaderboard on the random wheel and just
yeah,
let it choose for you?
potentially. Yeah, I think it might be better. Sorry, Justin, to hijack
Yeah,
your
he just
pick there.
completely hijacked your
Yeah,
pick.
go for it.
It's all right. Um, deserved it a little bit. Um, I think a really interesting pick is Gary Woodland.
Yeah.
Um, he's been playing. I think he's had some good rounds the last couple weeks for sure. And fun fact, do you know who the driving distance leader on the PGA Tour right now is?
Gary Woodland.
Gary Woodland.
Mhm.
Like not Rory, not Eater. Like that's pretty amazing.
How old is
Let's
Um,
move
Gary?
it.
He's long. Yeah. How old is he?
He's gonna be
41, turning 42 in May.
It would be really cool to see him win.
yeah.
Been through a lot.
So for the sentimental pick, I want to go with that one, but
Oh, wow. What a
Nice.
I'm
setup to
Yeah.
completely just change your mind.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I'm gonna go Sam Burns.
Okay. Man, wouldn't it be great to see Gary Woodland win? But I'm gonna go with Sam.
Uh, well, along those lines, I really want to pick Gary Woodland, but I don't want to curse him because I really want him to win.
So who you
But
gonna
I'm gonna take,
curse?
but I'm gonna take Gary Woodland.
Are you taking him?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Gary Woodland. I
Okay.
love it.
Let's go.
Absolutely, 100%.
The luck's gotta change at some point.
Yeah,
I hope
exactly.
it does. I hope, no offense to everybody else, I hope me or Hunter wins this week.
Hmm.
Just get your putt stroke ready, Parker.
No, that's Hunter's like
No, I
millions of
am.
dollars behind
Yeah,
right now.
I am way behind.
It's still
He
very,
is
very
I need to get
early.
hot.
$1.7 million dollars
It's all gonna
behind
start this
third
week.
place right now.
It's all
That
gonna start
is
this week. I'm gonna wear my '86 Jack shirt for the Masters, and we're gonna be ready to go.
Are you gonna watch the
Cool.
86 Masters final
Yeah,
round?
apparently I got to. Yeah, definitely.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Yes.
Uh, dude, his back nine was apparently pretty
Hey,
good.
have you ever had that putter, Parker? Being a putter
The
guy?
response?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. That'd be a
Probably
good one.
should, just for
That'd be a good one. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
sentimental purposes. Well, those are good picks. I like those. It's going to be an interesting watch. We got Valero next week. There's a little tournament after that that should have a pretty good field. Big times coming up. Masters, Heritage, Miami. Then we got a double week followed by another major. So,
doesn't stop.
nope, can't stop, won't stop. Get your picks ready. Hunter's trending just in
Nope.
time for the
Down.
Masters.
Down.
He's not in great form for the Masters.
Nope.
The sad thing is over the course of a full season, with the amount of money these guys make, when you pick somebody that makes 20 or $30,000 in a week, you might as well miss the cut.
Truth.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of like a miscut.
Although I'll say that, and then one of us is gonna come in last by $10,000.
We do need to figure out a punishment for like a if you miss the cut.
Oh, if you
'Cause
pick somebody that misses the cut after
yeah,
seeing the first round,
yeah. hmm It's gonna happen. It's
I
gonna
don't.
be quite the celebration.
That would require the leaderboard to be so tight, and for you to pick somebody that's like 4 or 5 shots off the lead after the first round, which I'm
Well,
not
I'm
sure any
not
of us have done.
listen,
But
Hunter's guy
he,
was on the cut line.
that's
Yeah, no, I was right there. I was
yeah,
very
five
close.
under, six over is a rough way to go. So
It can happen to anybody. It's not no
yeah,
shot at Davis Thompson. It's just how golf is. But
yeah,
It's
that's why this is so fascinating to me because we get the benefit of seeing the first round of golf, and we've picked how many
two.
winners? Two?
Oh yeah.
Well, I have one, and Justin has one, I think.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, boys, this was a fun episode with Billy. We've been
Yeah, it
looking
was a fun
forward to this
episode.
one for a while. He's the inspiration for these looks we've got going. I think, you know, again, we don't have to say it. Other people will say it for us, but we look
Apparently
pretty,
now other
we look
people say
pretty
it for
good.
us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we look pretty good.
Hmm.
Apparently, we
Uh,
have to define our look by how many buttons we have buttoned on these
yeah, I
things.
mean, Ryan's a three button guy. I noticed Hunter took it down a
He's a
level.
twoey.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hunter took
I'm
it down
a
a level.
yeah, it just depends a little bit. Depends on the situation, what
I
time of
think they're
night
all
it is.
fine except all four. If you're all four, something's going on. But
I wonder, yeah, I wonder if certain people we work for would go all four on this one.
All four to the top or all four
Yeah.
to the bottom?
No,
to
all
the
four to the
top.
top. Maybe
Okay.
that could have gone both ways, but
Okay.
yes, I meant all the way to the top.
All the way to the top. I've definitely been a like a three buttoner to the top.
Yeah,
Can't
yeah,
s-
yeah.
can't say I've four buttoned, but you know who I think has four buttons to the top? Bubba Watson.
Mm,
Do you
sounds
think
about right.
does he have
In
a
some
four
of those,
buttoner? Yeah,
I'd
some of
have to
those
look and
kinds.
see if it's four, but he definitely had kind of the small collar on some of
Mm-hmm.
that Oakley stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, watching those Masters highlights, dude. What did I watch? I watched the Spieth 20 I watched part of 2014 and 15, I think. Interesting. It's all and to see the equipment That's also super interesting to go back and see, like, whatever year you're watching, it's like R7 quad.
Well,
And
it's not that different. Bryson said he could win with that driver.
well, yeah, he probably could. He's playing really well right now.
Yes, yeah.
How about, and then watching Mickelson win in '04 with the
Hmm.
983, Titleist 983, all the Titleist stuff, the
Hmm.
Napa, Scotty Cameron Napa. It was like awesome to watch.
Hmm.
That's a plug for the Masters. No free ads, but that's a plug for the Masters.
Yeah,
We'll add.
they'll be fine with it.
They're not an official sponsor of this podcast, Augusta National. We just like them a lot.
But we'll do this podcast in Butler Cabin one day.
We're open to it for
Wouldn't
sure.
that be something? There is somebody that's on this podcast tonight that has spent time in Butler Cabin.
That is a good segue.
Thank you. Um, Again, this was a fun one, boys. We'll do it next week. But before we go anywhere, final words with Fabs.
Um, this segment cannot continue.
Just
I
stop doing
will.
such a good job of it.
The people
So
want it.
can I answer your cold open question? Your new favorite
Sure. Yeah.
question?
Yeah. It's 2 for 2, so don't ruin it. It better be a good story.
So the last time I sprinted was a couple days ago when
Oh
we had
no.
to sprint through the airport to get to our gate.
I, did you take a shower when you didn't need to? Were you taking a shower 30 minutes before the flight?
No, I was not. But we did run into traffic on the way to the airport, and our flight that was delayed got magically switched back to on time,
Mm.
which made us have to run with three kids to the gate, and we got there with about 2 minutes to spare.
Did you make it with all kids?
Everyone made it back to Nashville,
That's
thankfully.
that's
Air
all that matters.
It was a little
Airports.
touch and go for Kate because everyone was pre-check except for her. And so I took the kids
Wow.
through the
What
pre-check
a
line
move.
and she went through the regular security line and everyone was able to get there.
There is.
Did you leave her behind and run ahead with the kids, or did you wait for her to get through security?
No, we got to the gate and so we got there with maybe like 5 minutes to spare. She got there with like 2 minutes to spare.
Wouldn't that have been something if you had to leave without her? That would not have been. You wouldn't be on this podcast right now.
Probably not.
Airport stress is a different kind of stress.
Yeah.
It's just, there's nothing quite like it. Not fun. Well, thanks everybody for showing up. Appreciate those that did. I keep attendance.
It's nice to be
Yeah.
appreciated.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Good
You got
work.
it. Thank you, fellas.
Yeah.
We'll see everyone next week.
All right.
If you're someone who knows it's time to put the phone down and be present with your family or in the outdoors, this one's for you. Whether your escape is the golf course, the water, or the field, Hook and Gaff Watch Company makes watches built for time that actually matters. Assembled right here in the Carolinas, Hook and Gaff watches feature scratch-resistant sapphire crystal, lightweight titanium, and rugged designs made to handle real adventure without sacrificing style, because performance should look good too. Strap on a Hook and Gaff watch and get back to what matters most. Hook and Gaff Watch Company. Time well spent. Boys and girls, we are back with another episode of For Love of Golf, and this is a fun one. We've got Billy Nachman on, co-founder of Criquet. We got all four hosts. Justin's back. He skipped out on us last week. That's going to hurt him in the one and done. We'll talk about that later. But boys, welcome back. Billy, welcome. I feel like you're like a fifth host. You're part of the team, right?
Well, you can get me on as much as you want.
I
So
love that.
anytime you need a fifth, I'll be the fifth. I'll run out
I
to
love
start
it.
in five.
Yeah, see,
Um,
that's a full group. Hunter doesn't know anything
Yeah.
about that, but five is a
Yeah.
full group.
Fair
yeah.
enough.
Pleasure to be on here and meet you all sort of via Zoom. And definitely to be happy to be a sponsor of the show. And I think y'all look pretty tight in those shirts. Collars are
Glad-
looking crisp.
It's nice
Yeah.
to hear somebody else say it. We don't have to preach about it ourselves now.
Right.
Dang right, we do look good.
Yeah. We'll take that as right. With some help from you guys.
That's right. That's right. Well, okay, so I don't know I know you're a listener, which we appreciate. Thank you. Not just a sponsor, he's a listener as well. So I don't know if you've gotten to the most recent episode, but I got a new cold open question that I asked Josh last week that I loved. He hit a home run with it because I think
Uh,
that's what it's about. I heard it in a meeting I was with, and I was like, man, that's a great question to just ask somebody. So, Billy, when was the last time you were forced to sprint?
oh my gosh. Well, it wasn't really forced. You're gonna love this story. This is great. So
I'm telling you, makes for
my
great.
45th birthday was May 1st of 2020.
Mm.
So we're 6 weeks into lockdown. We're
Ooh.
scrambling as a company to like figure out what are we doing? Like
Mm.
everyone's like, "Oh, you just got to put content out there." So I had this crazy idea that I was going to try and beat Tom Brady's 40-yard dash time from the combine. Because I've always said for years, like I was like, dude, I can beat a 5'2", dude. That is not hard to do. And I like grew up, I was a pretty fast kid, so I'm like, I got this. I hadn't sprinted in like I can't, I'm probably 15 years before that. So um get out there, did a little training. I have a friend here who's actually a world champion decathlete. I think he won in 2011, Trey Hardy. He's also an NBC, announcer for track and field, and he did some training sessions with me, gave me his onesie from the Olympics, and I put it on, and we went out to a track on my birthday, and I went to go run the 40, and I'm around 6 yards away, and my quad just goes, and I go face first into the like, that like super like rough track surface,
Oh
lose
no.
all the skin on my left side of the arm. I don't even finish. So I think I was on pace to get
Yeah,
like a
I think you had it.
518. I'm gonna say it
The
was a
first 6 yards,
518. I
yeah.
was gonna
Yeah.
beat him, but there's some videos out there in the
Yeah.
interwebs. I did a whole challenge video. I'm like, Brady, I'm coming for you. We were hoping we get him in some sort of back and forth. He didn't bite. But yeah, that was the last time I went for a full sprint.
You outran your body, I think is what it was. I think you were probably
Absolutely.
you might have been sub five.
Dude, the upper half was like a 4.6. The legs were 5'5".
That
Uh,
might beat the best story we ever get. That was a good one.
that's
Yeah,
a
We'll
well,
think we're
I'll
gonna
send you
live
guys
up to
I'll
that
send you
one.
guys some videos later so you
Yeah.
please
can check
do.
it out.
That's
It's actually
great.
pretty funny.
Uh,
And
Uh,
Trey was there timing it at the end, and he's just like, "Ooh." All my friends are like, "Oh God." So,
it was a big setup for this.
yeah.
Probably got
That's
more
great.
views than any other thing you would have filmed,
Yeah.
It
but
we
Hey,
got that's
it was
probably
very
more
painful.
probably more commented on than any Instagram post we've ever put up. So,
you
Silver
never know
lining.
when it's gonna happen, right? Yeah. You're
and
better off,
some people
maybe.
actually thought I staged it. I'm like, dude, are you
No way.
serious? I have no skin on my arm.
Oh man,
So,
that's great.
anyhow,
Thank you for entertaining that. That's a perfect answer.
it was a
Um,
perfect question for me, man. So,
thank you. Okay, so tell us about kind of growing up, where you're from, and up to and like how golf became part of your world. We don't have to get into cricket yet, but just kind of, you know, a little bit about your history and then how you found your way into golf.
yeah, so I grew up in New York City. So I'm a Midtown Manhattan kid. I was born in 1975. So that puts me almost 51. And New York was a pretty interesting place back then. My dad likes to talk about how unsafe it is now. I'm like, dude, you raised kids in like the early 80s in New York
Yeah.
City. I went to a private school in the city, uh, and it was a pretty challenging environment academically, and then ended up going to a boarding school in Connecticut. Got introduced to golf through my twice-a-year trips down to Florida to see grandparents. And my grandfather would take us to the Palm Beach uh, par three, which is
Oh
actually an
yeah.
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah, it's
course,
great.
but
Yeah.
that's like the first course I ever played. And I think it's been upgraded since then. But I played with my grandmother's clubs, which actually were like woods, real woods. And I can't say I like fell in love with it, but I did appreciate like, particularly with that course and just generally just being outside and spending time with family and kind of like a fun sort of atmosphere. I probably, was a better driver that back then than I am now. Pretty consistently straight back then. Now it's like all over the place. But that was my introduction to golf. And then, at boarding school in Connecticut, we had a golf course on campus that
Mm,
kind of went through the dorm complex and all around the main building. And so, we go into class sometimes with a few clubs, and you have a free period, and you might sneak out and play a hole or two. And yeah, I mean, I've always been someone who's loved golf. I haven't like ever been great at it. And so I've had to learn to just appreciate it for the camaraderie and not the competition. Um, and I think that's what keeps me sane. I've also just never really had enough time and accessibility to play it enough to, to get better. But, I will say I have improved a little bit over the last 12 months. But yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of my
So
experience with golf
something,
growing up. Yeah.
yeah, something that I'm always curious. Like three of us on the pod here grew up in the South. Justin grew up all over, so I don't know exactly what he claims. Maryland, maybe, which is in some people's minds the South. But what is like? What is boarding school like? Like me growing up in the South, never having friends that went to boarding school, did any of that. Like I just picture like Dead Poet Society or like. Can you describe that experience a little bit?
Great movie, by the way.
Yeah, it is a great movie.
Filmed at St. Andrews. Yeah, you know, where I went to school in New York,
Hmm.
like pretty much everyone went to boarding school. The public high school system in New York City was not great, and there's definitely some private schools that, some kids went to for high school. But it was pretty much like that was the path. And some kids left after eighth grade, some left after ninth. I went left after eighth, so I had my freshman year there and had 4 years. And I don't know, man, it's kind of like a head start in a lot of ways. And like,
Yeah,
I mean, academically, it was very challenging. It definitely set me up, going into college. I felt pretty well prepared. And then just being away from your parents, at 14 years old, and you're going to get into trouble doing things you shouldn't do. And make
yeah,
dumb decisions and pay the price. And, you're responsible for getting your academics done. There's no one there to like tell you to go do it.
yeah,
You have to get it done. And then like, the fondest memories. I mean, I literally just talked to one of my high school buddies earlier this evening. I hadn't talked to him in probably a year. And he was just like, "Hey man, can you chat?" And I called him. We talked for like 15 minutes, but it was basically like dorm room life. Like at
yeah,
14 and 15 is pretty freaking fun, dude. Card
yeah,
games, like, you know, I mean, we weren't supposed to, but we were dipping and like doing all the stuff like the guys do, like in a big group, listening to music,
yeah.
making fun of each other, like, and that was like every night, it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Again, like my experience, there was another movie a couple of years ago, The Holdovers, that was great. It was like similar kind of thing. It was a great story too. But I think we got some of that and like through sports for sure. Like definitely like Parker and I grew up together, golf team, like there's definitely some of that, but I don't know, it's something that I'm always kind of fascinated with and wish I maybe had that experience because that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
What
I mean, I definitely feel very lucky to have had
yeah,
it for sure. And not sure, what my path would have been had I stayed in the city. I do know a lot of the kids that did, and I mean, talking about growing up quick, like, you're going to bars at like 15, 16. That was when IDs, like you go down to 42nd Street and just get like what was called a personal identification card. It was
yeah,
like, you just step into a booth and someone would take a picture of you and come out, you have a little card. And then it was
yeah,
before like, this like I'm talking 1987, 88, 89. It's kind of before people got, really strict about that stuff. So,
sure.
it's a change time for sure.
Yeah, I don't think in 84 or 85, around those times you're talking about, whatever it was, I don't think I would have even passed it 14, 15. There's no chance. That's
It's
for
a
sure.
little different than Waynesville.
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
different. You're
yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
right.
If you've been listening to the For Love of Golf podcast, you know that we've been spending some time in our cricket apparel. And it just kind of fits with what we're about at For Love of Golf, right? It's comfortable, it's got awesome style, it's a fun company, kind of an easy vibe, and the clothes kind of go with that, right? You can wear them on and off the course. That's just one of the reasons why we're excited to have Cricket as the official apparel provider of the For Love of Golf podcast. We are genuinely really enjoying the gear, and if you're thinking about refreshing your closet a bit, we'd definitely tell you to give Cricket a look. Feels good, looks good, kind of goes with the stuff we love about the game, right? Give them a chance. Go get some Cricket gear. Use the coupon code FORLOVE of 19. It'll let them know we sent you. And see what you think. Let us know. Cricket shirts, go check them out.
All right. Well, one more question before we kind of get into some of the work stuff, but
Sure.
um, non-work related, you got a totally free day. What would you want to do? What's like an ideal day? No obligations. What would you want to do start to finish?
Oh, that's a great question. If I'm here in Austin, I get up, I go on a nice long walk. That always gets my day going. Um, and get some really good breakfast tacos.
Yeah.
And then I head over to Butler Pitch and Putt, which is I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's right in downtown Austin. It's hosts the Tito Shorties Classic, and we were kind of involved in the retail a little bit, and get in a nice little warm up round, and then do the real deal in the afternoon, maybe over Lions Municipal, or um, and then grab like a nice happy hour. There's so many spots in Austin to do that, and have a dinner and then maybe go see some live music. I mean, that's like a day here, and I don't get that
Yeah.
day ever. So like that
Yeah.
seems like vacation to me here in Austin.
Yeah.
Um, but Austin's a pretty amazing place to be.
Yeah.
I've lived in a lot of places. I grew up in the city and went to University of Oregon, so I was there for 6 years. Lived in San Francisco, San Diego, and
Wow.
I got here to Austin in '07 and really fell in love with it. And it's not a perfect place, but it's just laid back. So much just fun stuff to do. You can kind of find whatever you're into, and people here are super kind and welcoming and open and not judgmental in any sort of way. You can be left, right, down the middle. You
Yeah.
can whatever it is that anything goes in Austin. So
Yeah, that's cool. I love Austin. I spent a year in Dallas and then I was a rep for a golf company, so I traveled around quite a bit and always loved Austin. And I mean, it's got to be, and Parker and I grew up near Asheville, and so like there's some similarities there a little bit, but Austin and Asheville remind me in one regard, like it's an incredible people watching city. You just see so many different kinds of people and interact with different kinds of people. And heck,
absolutely, Asheville reminds me of Eugene,
yeah, I've never been there,
Eugene,
but I've heard
I'd
Oregon.
that
like to
before.
go to
Yeah,
Yeah,
Eugene.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
And a good
Well,
golf town too. Incredible golf town, Austin. That's for sure. I mean, so much like accessible public golf, and then obviously the private golf stuff there is pretty wild too.
Yeah, there's some great municipal courses
Mhm.
and like just a long history, with Ben Crenshaw, Tom Kite, Harvey Pennick. Like, it's just really rich, rich golf history and UT being here as well. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, good spot to
are
be.
you when you're on your walk, are you listening to something? Are you just like trying to relax because you don't get much of that? What's the walk like?
So, one of the things I've learned to do over the last 2 or 3 years, I get up and I don't even pick up my phone. I go get me and my wife go on the walk together, so that's a little bit of time we get in the morning together. But I don't look at my phone for like 2 hours after I get up. So we get up
Nice.
pretty early. We go on a 3 mile walk. It takes us an hour. And just taking it in. I'll chat if we have something to talk about. Otherwise, you're just kind of depends on what time of year. Sometimes the sun's not up when we start, and it's coming up as we're walking. Summertime, it's a little steamy here in Austin, even at 7 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. So, you can work up a sweat in that time of year. But yeah, it's just kind of like I don't know. I think it's really important every day to wake up and have some time to think before you get your day started. And I'm not like an anti-phone guy, but I'm also like, I know it distracts me from kind of getting focused, and I don't call it meditating, but it's just kind of getting your head right before you get into your day.
Yeah, I like that thought.
Yeah, a
But
lot,
if I'm
lot
walking by
to be
myself,
said.
sometimes I'll throw in a podcast. Maybe I'll even throw in your
There you go. There you go. I
podcast.
like that. I like that.
I don't know. Is that the best way to start your morning, though?
Yeah,
That's
I
a
don't
good
know.
question.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's more of the afternoon drive home in traffic.
There you go.
I don't know if any of ours have come in under an hour yet either, so we can't finish
Oh
it.
no, no, they're yeah. These are long form.
Yeah.
Um, all right, awesome. So maybe let's dive into business a little bit, and specifically apparel. Um, did you necessarily find the apparel business, or did it find you?
Well, interestingly enough, uh, I'll kind of go way back. My great grandfather started an apparel company in Philadelphia in the 30s, and then my grandfather took that over, and then my dad actually took that over
Wow.
with my uncle, and that was his kind of main job and profession through probably the late 80s. And they were a made in America, women's apparel line, and they had offices in New York City and a cut and sew facility in Easley, South Carolina, back when, that part of the country was still producing a lot of
Yeah.
apparel. But of course, as we all know, manufacturing shifted overseas. And so whether it was partners that they were manufacturing for or their own line, the company just kind of late 80s, it was just a real struggle. So it was in my blood, but really I went to school at the University of Oregon. I studied architecture.
Hmm.
So that was a 5-year program. It took me six, and graduated in 2000. And yeah, I moved to San Francisco, and I did that I
Wow.
mean, I did it for 10 years before starting Cricket. And then there was some overlap for 2 or 3 years after because I had to make some money still too. Cricket
Mhm.
wasn't paying bills out the gate. So, um, but I've always been, you know, interested in apparel, whether it was through the family history or like just having a personal like desire to kind of step up and wear cool stuff. Um, and I never really kind of wanted to like follow like what everyone else was wearing. I always try to kind of carve my own path a little bit. Yeah, that's kind of where you know my love for it started. And then the business, came entirely from a different sort of place. And I can talk about that, but um, yeah.
Yeah, let's hear about that a little bit and kind of just like I'd love to hear kind of, the genesis of cricket and then kind of you said you had some overlap there too. So maybe get us to the point where it's like, the starting point and then to where you decided like this is a full-time deal now. This and what maybe when was that point? It's like, okay, now I can do it.
Yeah, so let me be very clear. I started this company with one of my best friends from elementary school. So we grew up in the city together. We've known each other since we were 6 years old. My first memory of him is in what we called beginners, which was, I guess, kindergarten. And we're all huddled around the teacher, and I look over and this kid just gets a spontaneous nosebleed. And I'm like, I've never seen that before. Sure enough. Turns out he's my business partner, 40 years later. But yeah, Hob and I went to elementary school together, and then we also went to boarding school together. And then he went to North Carolina. I went to Oregon. Obviously, we had very different experiences.
That's quite a
UNC
split
and,
there.
and UNC and U of O could not be like more different. And for me, it was like discovering like a whole new part of the country and kind of reinventing myself a little bit. And Hob, he went to UNC and fraternity and all that good stuff. And we remained very tight through our collegiate years, seeing each other every once in a while when we were back in the city. But we both ended up back in San Francisco in the early 2000s. And we went out to play golf at one of the courses up north of the city. I can't remember which one, the Peacock Gap or one of them up there. And we were both wearing vintage golf shirts. So 4-button placket, hard collar. You guys are repping them, well today. And I think mine was a hand-me-down from like my grandfather. I stole it out of his closet, and I might have gotten his at a vintage store, but we always liked that look. And so kind of fast forward a few years, and we were both sort of, I'd moved to Austin, and we were both in this time and place in our careers where we were, if we're going to take a chance at like doing something together, and we'd always wanted to do something together, like it was the right time to do it. And, brainstorming ideas, but we just came back to that, what we now call the player shirt. And at that time, it was like early, ecom, bonobos had launched, like they had kind of proven this concept that like dudes will go online and shop. Like they would rather do that than go to a store and try clothes on and all that. And so we're like, they can do it with pants, we can do it with shirts, and
Yeah.
so we thought that was kind of the direction we wanted to go in. And finding manufacturing, all that, that's a whole story unto itself. But that was sort of the genesis and kind of the seed for the brand. And we for the first 2 years, it was player shirt and player shirt only. So, and we were mid 30s guys, and um, we were looking for, I think, an apparel brand that kind of resonated with both of us, and had very different stylistic kind of
Yeah.
sensibilities. He was a little more preppy, and I was a little more, West Coast, dare I say, hippie-ish, and but like, there's something about the four
Yeah.
button, like you can wear it however you want to wear it. We thought that if we could, nail a product that both of us could wear comfortably within like our own worlds of style, like that's a pretty big thing. Um, so yeah, that's really kind of how the idea started.
Yeah, that's cool. It definitely makes sense the way you're
It
describing it
does.
too. Like,
Yep.
although Oregon and Carolina are, like you said, very different worlds, the common thread between those two is definitely like my dad went to Carolina in the 70s, and like 100% he wore stuff exactly like this. As he wasn't necessarily a preppy, he was a little more of the hippie kind of
Yeah.
Carolina guy for sure, but like riding around a motorcycle, and but I absolutely can see that like common thread between those two.
Mhm.
And it's definitely a part of the reason why I like it for sure too, because growing up in Western North Carolina, Asheville, like we kind of have a little bit of those vibes, even though it's in the South for sure. So it's cool.
Yeah, and for us, like we weren't, the Vineyard Vines was not,
Hmm.
it didn't appeal to me for sure, and it surely didn't for Hob. Like it just was too preppy, and Peter Millar was like a little too old, honestly, or a
Hmm.
little too conservative back then, and
Hmm.
so it was just like we were lost. Like we didn't have a brand. So we thought that we could potentially create one. So that was really what started it all off. And we never really wanted to build a golf brand. I mean, that was not our intention. Um, while the shirts, are rooted in classic golf style, right? Arnold, Jack, Ben Crenshaw,
Hmm.
Lee Trevino, everyone wore this shirt. Like our first 4 or 5 years, our shirts were 100% organic cotton. That was
Hmm.
it. We had no performance blends. Like we wanted to be the anti-performance kind of country club golf, like Muni, mixed all up into like one kind of product that hopefully worked for a lot of different guys. So
Like what years was that? Was that running into like the 08, 09 financial crisis? Was that kind of right when y'all were trying to start up, and did that affect your kind of get off the ground years, or were you able to establish yourself before then? What was that
y- we
timeline
didn't
like?
sell our first shirt until November 2010.
Wow.
Okay.
So we were going through the process during the financial crisis. And I don't think it was, oh, well, now's the time to do it because we're, nothing else seems to be working. Um, but it was, I think they went well together. Like it, I didn't have a lot of architecture work at that time. People just stopped spending money on remodels or building new homes. Like it was dead. And I had just moved to Austin. I didn't know anyone, or I knew a handful of people and like had no network. And I'm like, this is what a recession is. Never experienced one of these before. And so I started working at a bar and never done that before. I was 33, 34 years old, and on Rainy Street here in Austin, the
Mm.
first bar on Rainy Street. So before there were any buildings, before there's one bar. It's called Luster Pearl. I was the door guy, first ever door guy on Rainy Street, which
Nice.
is a pretty interesting fact. I met a lot of people there, by the way. It was a great
Yeah.
job.
That.
Um, but yeah, we were doing this kind of in parallel with that, and then coming out of that, was kind of when we launched. So, we got in one, Black Friday right when we launched, and then headed into 2011, and we're kind of off to the races as much as we could be. I mean, we were bootstrapping it, so we didn't have a war chest to work from, so it was definitely hand to mouth there for a while, but we made it through.
And was it all online, or did you try to get into golf shops pretty quickly, or did that take a while to kind of get
Yeah, I mean, we're
established?
still 90% ecom.
Okay.
So we've always wanted to be an ecom driven business. We're at a spot now where we're like, it is absolutely crucial that we grow our wholesale business. Um, but yeah, out the gate, we were like, I mean, it was all ecom at that point. Everyone wanted to build an ecom business, and I remember we did an accelerator program here for like 3 or 4 months. So we got some mentorship from some local Austin entrepreneurs who had had success, not necessarily in the apparel space or the e-com space, but mostly in CPG, like food and bev. There's a ton of that here in Austin with Whole Foods, and got some great, mentorship. And we had our pitch decks, and we're like, we're going to be doing $30 million in 4 years
Mm.
with no real plan to get there. And like, we're going to be able to raise a ton of money coming out of this accelerator. Didn't happen. Like, there was just this energy around like entrepreneurial e-com businesses at that time, being able to raise tons of money on like pretty low revenue and big upside down the road, and private equity and venture was willing to give out those dollars. We didn't really get any of that.
Mm.
And in hindsight, absolute blessing.
Mm.
Like, so thankful that we didn't,
Mm.
because there's a graveyard of businesses that did. And once you're on that wheel, like you are beholden to growth and growth only, and growth at all costs. And most of those businesses never turn a profit. Um, so yeah, I mean, we didn't. Yeah, we had a few wholesale accounts, and it definitely the interest came from the green grass world first. I think the first place that ever reached out, honestly, was like Gasparilla in the
Nice. Yeah.
Tampa
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
And we did the Pirates
Great
logo on the
logo.
pocket
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
flap.
logo. Yeah.
I still have one of those original shirts in my closet here. And but it was like all inbound. We didn't do a PGA show. Like we weren't doing that stuff. Um, we didn't really go after wholesale with like people behind it, other than myself, until like 2016, 17. So we were in business for like 5 or 6 years before we started going after it.
Mm.
Cool.
Awesome.
And one of the things you
Okay.
learn really quickly too is you can have a price point. You're like, I think this is what the market's going to bear on like a direct to consumer pricing model. But then like when you go to wholesale, you're like, oh, like our shirts cost too much
Mm.
Yeah.
to have a wholesale business.
Yeah.
So we weren't big enough to have a, efficiency on our cost. We were made in the USA for a little while, which also added significant cost. So, our prices started out for this shirt like 100% organic cotton. I think our costing was like 25, $27 per
Mm.
shirt, and our retail was like 75, right? So you
Yeah.
do 75, 37.50 as your wholesale, and like you're making $11 a shirt, and then you got,
Mm.
it didn't
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that's yeah. You got to go through that and learn all that, I guess. Especially coming. I would imagine coming from the architecture world, it's a lot different. And you did have the background with your family being in the apparel business, which is really interesting to see. Did that have? I mean, did that have a weight on you at all ever? Like, I want to continue this in some form.
There was, I mean, the only like kind of pressure I ever felt was when my dad's like, "What are you doing getting into the apparel industry?"
Yeah.
It's the opposite of
Yeah, he's like, "Don't do that. Like, you just spent 5 years in architecture school and 10 years trying to build a career." And I wasn't like an A+ architect, but I was pretty good. I'm not one of those people who are like, "Yeah, I was the best." Like, no, I was a good designer. And I have, a few homes here in Austin that I did and quite a few projects in San Francisco, but
Mm.
it just wasn't, I mean, I love architecture, but so much of that job is like, sitting in city offices trying to get permits and like construction documents. It's not sexy,
Yeah.
until you have some people working for you, you're kind of grinding away. You're working really hard and, there's not a huge upside at the end of it. And so, for me, Cricket was an opportunity to like do something like as creative from a
Mm.
product standpoint, but also from a marketing and brand standpoint. So kind of fill that need for me, but also just like, it was exciting kind of building something that, with your best buddy and having fun doing it. And maybe at the end of it, you can make a little money.
Yeah,
So
that's cool. What's something about building a brand that nobody tells you when you're going in to do it?
building a brand. Um, yeah. Well, I mean, there's product driven brands and then there's like brand driven brands. Looking back on it, like, we looked at Bonobos like as our model. Um, they were product driven, right? It's a better fitting pair of pants. Like that's what they were. Um, and while we thought we had a pretty unique product with the players shirt, what we were actually and where we've had success is like kind of just building out a story, and like kind of like a vibe to who we are and what we represent. And a lot of that is just Bob and I in the beginning were like when we're writing emails or whatever, like, is this funny? Is this like, do you like this? Do you like it? It's like if it had to honestly it had to just pass our own tests.
Mm.
And I think that just kind of built an authenticity to it.
Hmm.
And we've never really been behind the scenes. Like we never wanted to be like stars of the show or anything, but like, we're a founder run business and we have a personality to our brand that comes from us and, now the team around us and also from Austin. Like we were very cautious about like claiming Austin as home base because we were two New Yorkers who ended up there at a time when like a lot of people were moving.
Mm.
I mean, it exploded way later, but like when I moved there in '07, like I was like, I gotta like be careful about it where, I tell people I moved here from California. Like you didn't want to be those people. And finally, like one of our mentors in that incubator was like, dude, just own it. Like no one's gonna care. Like Austin's a city of transplants. So and once we did that, we were able to really tell the story of the city through the brand and um whether it was golf or lifestyle or, dive bars or, whatever it was, like it all kind of worked together. So yeah, what did I don't know. No one really told us anything. And what I would say to anyone is like, at the end of the day, like in a world where there's a lot of competition, product type typically is not going to get it done. Like you're not going to win just on product. You'd be like, mine's the best shirt. It's the most comfortable. Like you need to have like a whole other layer of stuff, whether it's on top of that or below that to lean on. And that's what customers are going to resonate with, right? Like there's guys who are Cricket guys, like they're not Johnny O guys. I know plenty of guys are Johnny O guys, and there's crossover. Don't get me wrong. Like those guys have built a great business, and I've
Mm.
known them for a long time and we get along great. But like, our logo says one thing, their logo says another, like, and so you really need to connect with people, and do it in an authentic way.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've been fortunate to talk to a couple brands and entrepreneurs, and that seems like a common thread. Like it can't be just the product like you're describing. Like and I don't know if that's the day and age that it is, or if this has always been the case, but it definitely seems like that's a common thread between them, that there's, for lack of a better way to describe it, like a story to tell that goes along with it. And it definitely shines through with you guys clearly through like the marketing and through socials and just the general vibe. I know that's a very popular word right now with younger people, but like definitely the vibes are there. Like I absolutely recognize that, and I think it's pretty cool what you guys have been able to do and figure out over the years. That's for sure. What you kind of been talking about a little bit, but like, was there a moment where you felt like it might not work? And if so, and maybe you've kind of been describing that, like what was the thing that got you through? What was like that mistake that happened, or like that out of the nowhere deal that happened that kind of made it feel real, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. There was like, we definitely made some really dumb decisions along the way, ordering some products that
Yeah.
we shouldn't have ordered, trying to be bigger than we were. Like, that's one of the lessons that we learned pretty early on is like when 99.9% of men in America don't know who you are, never even heard of you, you don't need to like all of a sudden start making jackets and sweaters and button-down
Mm,
shirts. Like, you have a best-selling product, you got to get that in front of all the folks you don't. So,
mm,
I think in the beginning we made some buys that we probably shouldn't have made. Great product, but like just allocating dollars in the wrong place. And we've always been insecure about like, is have we made it? Have we made it? Have we made it? And I think honestly, we hired a business partner who's now our CFO. He was our first hire in 2013. Bob and I
mm,
have no financial chops at all, like barely knew how to open Excel. And Michael came on board with, some, business school background, investment banking, and really helped us kind of steer the ship that way. And that gave us a little bit more confidence that we weren't going to run out of money every month.
mm,
And then uh and we raised a little bit of money over time just to be able to pay for inventory. I mean, it's really hard to become profitable in any sort of way until you cross a certain like revenue thresholds. It's just you're paying for growth. Like, you gotta spend more on your product, like because you're buying more for the demand that you're hoping for, and like that eats up all your profits. So we raised a little bit of money. It's all kind of, angel type friends and family folks. But I think when we started to really feel comfortable, and COVID kind of threw a little bit of a curveball in there, but our first profitable year, 6 years, 7 years into the business,
yeah.
um, was like, we have a business. It like actually works, right? Like, even if it's $1 of profit, like that's more than, a lot of these companies have ever in their entire life cycles have ever
Yeah.
achieved. And then since then, I mean, we've been profitable every year for the last 7, 8 years, and it's growing, steadily and the right way. So I don't know. I mean, there were definitely times where, I think our year 2 or 3, right before we hired Michael, Hob and I were just like, we can't put any more of our own money into this. And so we had to go raise money, and then you have to value your company, and then you're like, we're not worth anything. Like, we just spent 2 years doing something, and now we're going to give up a whole chunk of it to someone else. And, uncomfortable conversations, but that's like all part of it. Um, and we're really, really excited about where we are right now. So
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
I feel
and
like definitely gotten an MBA plus. You
Yeah.
know, I literally had no idea what it was like to run a business before
Uh,
this, and a lot of trial and error, and a lot of messing up, and working with really good people. We started with finance because that was like truly the thing we didn't know, and then we hired our chief product officer who's still with us, and we don't have we basically have no turnover. Anyone who's ever started with us along the way is basically still with us, except for like two or three people. We're a team of 35. Everyone, kind of believes in what we're doing and works really hard and, is definitely part of the success story.
Yeah, probably the best way to get an MBA plus. Obviously, a lot more risk involved, but
True,
probably a
true.
great way to learn it if you can come out on the other side. That's for sure.
And that's kind of, what they say is you go to school to get a piece of paper, but you start learning once you get out and start working. At least that's
Absolutely.
been my experience for sure.
And that's coming from a guy with an
I
MBA.
was going to say there's two of us on here with an MBA, so
Um, so maybe going back to the apparel world a little bit,
hmm
um, what's something about the apparel industry specifically that would surprise most people?
Um, that's a good question. I don't know, it's really hard to get started. Like it's once you have like an established sort of history of sales, like, there's manufacturers who want to work with you, but when like that first year and a half of trying to find production and like a manufacturing partner who, is going to take a chance on you, it's really, really hard. And maybe that's not something people don't already know. I don't know, but that was one of the biggest challenges for us. We definitely, after banging our heads against the wall trying to do it on our own, we networked a little bit and leaned on some family connections to kind of get our foot in the door. But as you can imagine, on the other side of that is a manufacturing partner is going to go through a whole development process with you. That's their time, that's their money, that's their human resources. For a company, they're like, I don't know, are these people going to be around in a year? Like, is this worth our investment? So, I
Mhm.
mean, it makes sense, but it's really hard. And then, I don't know, man. The other really interesting thing is going to the PGA show every year, and you're like, how, why and how are so many new brands like starting all the time and like thinking
Yeah.
it's going to work? And like, I'm rooting everyone on. I'm not like, it's really hard to do it and do it successfully, and everyone's got the dream. And I'm always just shocked at like how many new brands there are. Really, I don't know. You guys have been to the show, so you walk around and you're like, and really at the end of the day, it's like, what are you doing differently from a brand standpoint or a product standpoint? Like, how are you stepping up and standing out? And sometimes I'm walking around, I'm like, I don't really understand what this,
Yeah, no, I
what,
mean, I'm right there
what these
with
people
you.
are thinking.
And like half of the time, or maybe not half the time, maybe that's not accurate, but it seems like it's like guy that used to work for X company is going to go start his own company, but it's kind of similar to the company you work for. So like you're talking about, like what
Yeah.
is the unique factor there? I
Where's
like,
the separator?
yeah, exactly. It's tough.
What this is off script a little bit, but just kind of from my personal knowledge, like PGA show, like how do you value that? How do
I
because
mean,
I know companies value it differently. I mean, I worked for a large company. I worked for Yamaha for 5 years, which was a really large company, but the golf car was like a small part of Yamaha's overall business. And I know that,
mhm,
like that is it's still a wild week. Like show aside, people aside, like the actual financials of that week are just amazing in ways that most people don't think about, right? Like you're not just there at the show, you're also there entertaining customers and you're traveling and you're taking product, whether you're shipping it or you're driving it down there, whatever. Like how do you value that week? Because I know you guys are there. I know Jordan's like at the Carolinas PJ show, which is, much
mhm,
different scale, but
mhm.
um yeah, so like, what do you think about when you think about PGA show week?
I've done it for like 10 years and it's expensive for sure. Just the floor space is pretty expensive and
Yeah.
then, doing a build out, right? And, I said, because the wholesale business has always been like, always been, the second most important channel for us. Like I've always wanted to do it in a very cost effective way. So I designed our booth probably 2019, 18, 19 as a 10
Makes
by
sense.
50, which was our booth size back then. And we created like I did it once, we built it, we created over the year, and like it's a pretty low cost way of doing that show. If you're doing like, contractor, every year paying for a setup, like the hourly rates are insane. Like people are spending $100,000 a year, and that's like not for a huge booth, but just like for setup every year. Like, and that's not including the floor space. So we try to do it very efficiently. I mean, at the end of the day, unless you're a big brand, you're there to sell. You're there to write orders. We have selling stations. We have our reps in. People make appointments. If your calendar is not full, it's like a disappointment. And at the end of the day, you kind of do an analysis, like, was that worth it, right? And if you want to be in the green grass business, if you want to be selling in pro shops, you kind of have to do it. I thought about bailing. It's just like, is there a more effective way? Like if we took all in, what does it cost? 50, 60 grand, even with our own booth, like living there and a crate for $800 a month or 5 crates for $800 a month. Like, is there a better way to spend that money and like have as much of an impact? Like, could I just send samples to the top, 1,500 clubs with handwritten, like whatever, like do something that comes to them in their space and like logoed shirts and all that. And I have yet to be able to convince myself that I could have the same impact. But it's always, you always leave the show feeling better about it than when you actually like do a full analysis. You're like, we met with a lot of people, and quite a few didn't write orders. We got to go out and get those. So, but yeah, it's fun. I mean, part of me hates it, and then part of me just kind of loves it too, right? And I love the slow transition from the quarter zip to the hoodie. The unofficial
Yeah.
uniform, like all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like, 65-year-old dudes are walking around with hoodies. I'm like, this is crazy.
It,
It has definitely gotten more casual for
Yeah.
sure.
no
I
doubt.
remember, I
I'm
mean, early
yeah,
on we were coat and tie and
yeah.
it is really buttoned up. And now
We used to, yeah.
even the ones that you expect to be really buttoned up or it's changed a lot.
We
I
used to
still
always,
love the meetings with
yeah,
the coat and tie crews. Those are
yeah,
those are the best.
yeah.
They're just like, we're gonna keep it real. Like this is the way it's supposed to be.
It's so interesting to me. I find that I tend to like that, like formal kind of like I think it's cool. But then I think, man, we're all in the same business. We're all here together. It's kind of like a fraternity or group of peers. Like, why do we feel like we have to dress up for each other? We have to dress up every day. Why don't we just come down and like enjoy it,
Yeah.
and let's go a little more casual. It feels like it's getting that way though a little bit, for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I've always wondered on the club side of it. I'm on the sell side, but like, how many guys are just going down there because it's getting paid for and like having a good time, right? Getting entertained and going to play golf. And I'm gonna walk the floor because I have to, but like, I got my buys already planned, and I get that. Like I would probably do that too. But when you're on our side of it, it's exhausting. It is like the most exhausting three. Well, we're there, we get in on Monday morning and we leave Saturday. Like we're setting up Monday afternoon, all day Tuesday, and then you're literally every 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour, you're sitting down with someone new and telling the same story over and over and over again from 8:30 in the morning until 6, and you do it the next day. And in the meantime, in the middle, you got to entertain people, right? You got to bring them
Yeah.
out. You got to, and you got to be on your game. And every once you get an interview, people want to come by, like, you get called on, like, randomly, like the Golf Channel will come up and you like stick a mic in your face. You're like, what? you know,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
gotta,
there's no doubt. Parker and I have both been on both sides of it. I used to work for Trackman for a while, and I mean that week is just crazy, especially for us when I was doing it, because it was maybe one or two times a year where the whole company was actually together, like all the reps and the guys from Denmark and like headquarter guys. And so you're doing all this training and all this other stuff and camaraderie with them, and then you're going out and like then you're up at 6 in the morning and out at night till whenever, and like it is a week. I mean, it is
It
That is
is,
a tough
It's
yes.
week for vendors, that is for sure.
vendors and show goers have such a different experience. It's
Yes.
just unbelievable.
Mm,
You're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
there at a similar place and you're having a totally different experience.
no doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, I kind of, it is different. I would think from, like Hunter said, from our side of the vendor's perspective, we're working for someone else, and I think that's probably a little different experience than working in it from your perspective as like a founder. Like I have to imagine it's a pretty um, hopefully it is. It's like a pretty rewarding time too to see all these people coming, ordering your product that you work so hard to get in all these places and to see it pay off. It hopefully there's some reward in that too, just from a personal perspective. It's like, man, all these people came by today to see this thing that we've built.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing better than to kind of stand and look at your booth and just see it really, really busy, with people you don't know, some people you do. The PGA show is definitely a test of like, do you remember from the last year who you met?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I always am like, God, who is going to come up to me and be like, Billy? And you're like,
Hey, guy.
I have no idea. You're
You
like,
got to
what's up,
look
brother?
down. You got to look
I'm
down
always
at the
like,
name tag.
Yeah.
good to see you, buddy. Yeah, no, but then you don't want to be that guy either, though.
Yeah.
You're
No.
like, I try to keep it subtle. But no, that it's a great feeling. Honestly, it is. And I do feel like, walking around, and I have a lot of respect for a lot of the other brands who are doing really cool things, and I I'm always interested in what other people are having success with, but I also feel really proud of, walking by our booth and try to have like a, you know, what is it, objective eye, and just being
Mhm.
like, yeah, I think we have a reason to be here. Like, I think there's a reason for us to exist in this world. And, not, I mean, one of the things I've learned about the green grass world and our positioning in is like, not everyone wants a pocket on the chest, right? And so really, like, at the end of the day, we're never going to be Peter Millar. We're never going to be honestly, like, the Holderness has got a huge runway ahead of them. Like, we've done the 3-button placket because our reps told us we needed it in the line, and then they would show it, and people were like, "Why do I need that from Cricket? I got it from everyone else, right?" So, like, our what our success is like is what we see as success in golf is pretty narrow. I think it's in a lot of clubs, but like, I think the golf capsule is pretty tight. But I do think, and I'm curious to hear your all's thoughts on it, but like, I think in this day and age, a pro shop should be offering more than just golf, right? I feel like you're going to get so much more additive revenue from adding lifestyle and things that complement golf or adjacent to it, that your member or your guest is going to really be excited to see. And it's different than what everyone else has. And that's kind of where we are trying to, like, sort of make our case, right? Like, we have the right to be in golf because of, I don't know, the player shirt, but like, we also do all these really cool other like lifestyle pieces. And if you put that in front of enough like, people will be like, sweet, like, I would never have bought this from you. I'm gonna buy 3 polo shirts this year from the club, or 5, but like, now you threw this thing in front of me, and like, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. I mean,
To me, it's
I
additive revenue. It's not
Yeah.
taking away from the polo shirt business. It's like giving the clubs an opportunity to make more money. So
Yeah, and as a shop owner, I mean, that's what you want to do is you don't want to take, like you said, you're not taking business from the polo shirt. You're taking business from X store down the street where they would go get birthday presents for their husband, but instead they can just
exactly.
come to the club and
Yeah.
get something that's better and
Yeah.
support somebody that they know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've 100% seen that trend in the past several courses that I've worked at. Not that I'm involved exactly in the retail space. I teach for a living, but yeah, I mean, like at our place, we're a resort, and so we get quite a bit of that person that's not necessarily a golfer, and our golf shop is kind of the main retail store. There's a couple retail stores, but it's kind of the main retail store on property, and so we get a ton of that. But even in the country club world that I was in prior to being at this facility, like I mean, he absolutely pushed the lifestyle stuff along with
Hmm.
it, and it was super successful. And So makes a ton of sense to me for sure. And there's that nice crossover where you can have like, especially with dudes, like once you find a brand that you really like, that's comfortable, that you trust, that wears well, like all that kind of stuff, like I'm gonna go all in and I'm gonna like if I can buy golf stuff and lifestyle stuff, like I'm all
Hmm.
in, that's for sure.
Hmm.
So no, it's pretty
Hmm.
cool.
Well, and I
Yeah.
think, kind of what you said. I mean, you're kind of finding your lane versus trying to do the same thing that everybody else does. I mean, I think that is why you guys have been so successful because you know a cricket shirt when you see it, whereas you can take X polo 3 buttons from 5 other companies and you can't like you don't know. Take the logos off, like you don't know whose shirt's who. They all kind
Hmm.
of look similar. You're paying for the logo essentially, and with a lot of companies. Whereas
Which,
with
by the
you,
way, is the importance of building a brand. I mean, that is like people,
yeah,
brands resonate. So, like, back to that, what we were just talking about, like, at the end of the day, it's a polo shirt, right? I mean, you can make it look a little different. I think we've done that, but like, people are buying brands. It says something about themselves. And I can't expect that everyone wants our logo on their shirt. And that there's plenty of space for all of us in it. But, I think, I think we've done a pretty good job of differentiating on the product side of things too. So
yeah, I think you're a really good mix of both, right? Like you've got a product that's a little bit different than everybody else, but you also have the story and the brand and as Hunter said, the vibes, the youth's
Yeah, exactly.
vibes behind it. Yeah.
Exactly.
well, hey, we need to be in more courses, and I know Jordan's working real hard, and golf. It's been a little bit of a struggle for us, but we're still pretty positive on what that can bring to us.
I honestly I can't remember Billy. I think you and I might have said this in our first conversation, or maybe I just had this with Jordan. I think you guys are positioned really well though, because personally I think a lot of the brands that are out there right now, the people that are buying these shirts, um, this is probably a bad way to put it, but I mean a lot of the that old school look is aging out, right? And
Hmm.
golf is just like the PGA show is becoming a different look.
Hmm.
Golf itself is becoming a totally different look, and I don't know that there's many companies that are better positioned for a fresher look than you guys are, because a lot of people are just rehashing the same kind of style with their logo on it, and you guys are not
Hmm.
doing that. So personally, I think the runway for you guys yeah, feel like you guys are positioned really well for the next decade because golf is becoming, you said it's not a huge part of your business right now, but I feel like golf is coming your direction more
Well, I
so than it
appreciate
is. I
that.
think it's moving away from some of the other direction and moving closer
Hmm.
to where you guys are
Hmm.
personally.
Hmm. No, that feels good. Just I think one of the challenges with the younger generation is like, do they get this? Like, do they get the 4 button placket? I mean, we sponsor the Austin High golf team. It's a pretty good golf team here. Where Ben Crenshaw played on the Austin High. I think Tom Kite did too. I was over at Lions Municipal where they hit balls and like there's these 15-year-old kids and they got their player shirts on and they're like, I don't know, like they just don't get it because like they've never seen it really. It's like so foreign to them. I'm just like, just go watch Arnold Palmer, go watch Jack, go watch all these guys. And when golf style was like at its peak, in my opinion. I mean, we could all have probably our favorite times, but like, those British Opens in like the late 70s, early 80s, like Tom Watson, like turtlenecks and like plaid pants, and like dudes were sharp. I mean, they cared, and like to me, it's just like a whole different world. Um, and some of the younger folks just don't really understand it. So we got to make inroads there.
Yeah, I think they'll get it. Maybe not because maybe they won't get it because it was Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus, but they'll get it because it's different and it's kind of like a different cool look. That's
Yeah,
how I feel about it, at least. Like you might get it from both angles. You get the people that
true.
appreciate the tradition, or the really young people that have no idea that it was a thing and they think it's a new
Hmm.
thing
Yeah,
because they don't see it anywhere else.
good way to put it.
You had referenced a couple risks you guys took early on that maybe didn't work out, like feeling like you were bigger than you were, or buying product that was good but just wasn't right for you guys at the time? Then of course there's the risk, I guess, of the cost of the PGA show. But has there been a big risk you guys have taken that's paid off that you look back on and you're like, man, that turned out to be a really good idea? Or have you kind of been kind of slower and steady and a little more careful
We're
and
slow and steady.
yeah,
We haven't. I mean, look, we have 1,000 ideas that we typically are the finance team with, and they're like, no,
yeah,
that'd be really dumb.
yeah,
Um, but and who knows? I mean, maybe we've left some opportunities on the table, but like, you just at the end of the day, we're like, what we're doing is working, so it's like hard to like take chances outside of that.
yeah.
Um, we've committed a lot of resources in the last 12 months to our collegiate program, which is um wasn't risky because we knew we were going to do really well with it. So it wasn't a risky thing, but like I'm trying to think of anything that like stands out as like, man, that was a home run. You know, yeah, I don't know. Um, some of the limited edition shirts we've done, you're surprised by. Like we do like little limited edition like embroideries and have had success there, but not risky. Like, yeah, I don't know. Everything's been pretty. We've been pretty risk averse.
What about like
So,
was it the collared sweatshirt? Like, I'm not a huge fashion guy, so maybe that existed and you guys just kind of copied it. Was that y'all's thing? Because that's the first time I'd seen it.
dude, I mean, it was kind of like taking uh like a sweatshirt and a rugby shirt and
Yeah,
kind of making it into one and putting the kangaroo pockets. And I don't know of anyone else who did it. And that thing has been a freaking slam dunk.
yeah,
Mm.
So, and that's on the design team. I mean, they came up with that. And you know, you go into it and you're like, how many of these should we order? Do we order
right.
500 or 1,000? And then you do it first year and you're like, we're going to go light. We always do things light first year. And like you sell it
They
in like two
sell out.
days
Yeah,
and you're like, we could have sold that for like 3 more months. Like imagine how much money we just, kind of
yeah.
left on the table by not committing. But like that, everything we've done has gotten us to where we are. And where we are is not where we dream of being, but like I also just keep looking around and like I know it's hard for a lot of companies and particularly ones that raise a bunch of money. What we've done well, we're profitable, we're kind of happy to be where we are. So
Well, for what it's worth, I liked mine. So,
Ryan, maybe you
good,
are a
nice.
fashion person.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
you
go.
picked out like what an item to pick out.
I mean,
High
I'm one of
fashion,
those
Ryan
guys
Martin.
that just wears what he likes. I don't really care if people like it or not because I don't know that many people.
uh, love that. Okay, what part of running this company do you enjoy the most?
I think it's obviously working with the team that we have, all my people. And I think they really love working for Cricket, as I talked about earlier, like no one really leaves, and that makes me like super happy and excited. Like we expect a lot from everyone, but we've created a pretty laid back work environment, and um, it makes you feel good, right? It just makes you feel good when people want to stick with you. And there's plenty of other companies that come trying to, poach some of our people, and they're like, no, working here is where I want to be. And then also, look, man, it's pretty cool to like, I don't know. I mean, I can now like go to the PGA show and I can talk to just about anyone I want, like, whether that's other brands and head of other brands, CEOs of other brands, or whether it's like, Jake Owens coming up to our booth and being like,
Yeah.
yo, man, what's up? Or Manolo wants to spend an afternoon hanging out at the booth, or like, it's just kind of cool. Like, Luke Wilson's like, an investor in our company. And, um, I'm not gonna lie, like that's all pretty neat. Like, I can bump into Ben Crenshaw tomorrow morning and give him a hug. Like
Yeah.
10, 15 years ago, that ain't happening, right? And so that's all because of like, you know, cricket.
Yeah.
It wasn't like an intention behind it, but it's just kind of happened. So
Cool.
Yeah, no, that's very cool. That's awesome. You've kind of touched on this a little bit, but Is there like along the way, is there any part of that original vision that's kind of changed or amended? And maybe kind of second part of this question as we're just kind of talking here, but you kind of mentioned you don't necessarily see yourself becoming like the big box store golf, whatever. How do you kind of thread that or find that balance between obviously you got to grow and that's your goal between that and being the golf shirt for everybody?
Um, the how have things evolved? Or that was the first part of the question was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
how have things changed a little bit? Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, look, if you had asked me 15 years ago whether still be doing cricket, I'd be like, nah, dude, we would have sold that for like
Yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars, dude.
Yeah.
I'd be like on a beach somewhere. So that definitely
Mhm.
changed. Um, but and then as far as the golf, like or big box stores or whatever, I mean,
Yeah.
we're open to all that. I
Yeah.
mean, we don't want to be stuck in the golf like if we're in Dick's, like I don't want to be next to
Yeah.
all the golf brands. Like I want to be if Dick's wants to bring us in, I want to be like kind of more in their lifestyle. And that's the great thing about all these like sporting focused stores like the Dick's, Shields, like they're they want to get more lifestyle. That's how they're growing, right? I mean, if you're just
Yeah.
selling performance like product and that's it, like you're
Oh yeah.
gonna basically cap yourself. So, we sell at Dillard's, which is our first kind of well, no, Von Maur and Dillard's are
Mm.
two kind of bigger, national retailers. We're in, not every door, of course, but trying to build those relationships. And Dillard's is a great partner for us. They've really like changed their matrix quite a bit. And probably one of the best performing stocks over the last 5 years. I mean, if
Oh
you look at
yeah.
they're up like 1,200%, like whatever they're doing well, and they're bringing in, the Fairdies, like Chubbies, like great
Hmm.
brands.
Mm.
So happy to be working with them, but definitely see a place for us and like I said, a Dick Shields, um, you know, Nordstrom, like we've worked with them in the past. I think these are all places that like I think cricket deserves to be at some point, right? You never want to
Yeah.
rush it though, because you only get so many chances.
Yeah. Yeah. It
That's
makes sense
that's
to
my
be
whole
like,
thing. And you got to deliver too. It's like customer service on that side with your wholesale partners. You operationally you need to be like on point, and because you only get a season or two of opportunity.
yeah, no, it makes sense. It could be like the Patagonia of golf. Like that's the way you're just kind of describing it a little bit. Like Patagonia, obviously a serious hiking outdoors company, but
Mhm.
at the same point in time, I would imagine a majority of their sales are mostly from people like me that just think it's cool and it's good stuff and lifestyle and whatever. So yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that we actually see as a kind of a country club Patagonia is kind of who we
Yeah,
wanted to be. That was a long time
totally.
ago,
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's a good metaphor.
Yeah.
Good call, Hugh.
I'm smart sometimes.
So thanks again for hanging in with us. This is so much fun for us just to hear and talk shop and hear fun stories. I think we're getting pretty close to the end, so maybe just a couple more questions.
Sure.
Um, what's what's something outside of work and golf that people wouldn't expect you to care about?
Expect me to care about. I don't know. I mean, I do love music, um, but that's a pretty normal thing, I think. Um,
In a good town for it for
and
sure too.
in a good town for that for
Yeah.
sure.
What type of
Yeah.
music?
Uh, I actually like yard work. Is that a weird thing? Like, I'm into it.
No,
Like,
I
it's my
love
that's
watching
my
those guys on Instagram that like mow and do and fill their yard and do all this stuff. It's pretty
yeah, it's
interesting.
very meditative for me. It's like truly my only time alone. No one wants to hang out with a guy doing a leaf blower, but like I got my AirPods in. I'm just like, um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm a pretty down the middle sort of person, but uh, nothing kind of super out of the ordinary.
What type of music are you listening to?
I've always just listened to kind of old music. It's hard for me to keep up with new stuff. I have probably 1,000 records in my cabinet over there, so I have a pretty big vinyl collection. I got, I had a good jazz run, in a period in college. So I got, I love classic jazz, 70s jazz, like kind of acid jazz. And then I've always loved Motown, old soul, um, and an old country. And probably if I'm listening to contemporary, it's probably more in the all country side of things, but I still just love old music. Love the Dead. Still listen to the Dead, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see the Motown vibes too, like rocking the shirt too. Like that's definitely a that makes
Yeah,
sense too,
absolutely.
right? Yeah, yeah.
What's been a moment so far for cricket or for you that has just been the most memorable?
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna bring this back to golf, but I went to my first Masters. I think it was 2000. The year Patrick Reed won was that
It was
2017, 18.
16,
Yeah,
Six,
16 maybe?
yeah.
six.
Yeah, and one of our friends, Hob and I went, and we got invited to go stay. Is it Scratch Golf? This under the PGA Tour kind of.
Hmm.
We got
Their
invited to
pre- their
stay at.
It's
their parent
20,
company
20.
owns Works Golf WRX now.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes.
So we got invited to stay. They were wanting us to spend some dollars on advertising, and so they got invited us to stay in their house, and we were there for a couple nights and had a blast. We had tickets, but our friend growing up from New York, he's like been going to the Masters forever, and he somehow he finagles a ticket for every single day, but from a different person, and very well
Nice.
connected dude. But one of his good friends is Jim Nance, so we were invited into Butler Cabin during I think it was Thursday or Friday. And like I'm just sitting in the chair. Hob and I are sitting in the chairs in Butler Cabin while the Masters was going on. I'm like,
That's
this
wild.
is pretty freaking memorable.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
not many people get that kind of access during the Masters, but yeah, that was pretty cool. And Masters right around the corner. I'm wearing my 86. This is like a pale
Yeah.
yellow. It's like,
Yeah, that's
you
great.
know,
Well, that means
um,
we crossed paths years ago in that was 2018. Patrick Reed won, and
18? Okay.
yeah,
that's
18.
the only year I've ever been to the Masters, so I was there as well.
That's
Nice.
the only
Did I see
Sunday
you
I've
at
been to.
did I see you at the Country Club Nelly show in town that night?
No. I was not one of the guys that had tickets every day. I was a Wednesday, no, I think it was Tuesday lottery winner. I
No,
got
you're
lottery
At
earlier in the
tickets.
week.
lottery.
Yeah, I only had one
Yeah,
day. We hung out for more than that, but
yeah.
Um, we kind of talked about this a little bit. You gave us some insight, but maybe just a little bit more. If we're doing this again, same conversation. We'll do it hopefully before then. But if we're doing this again in 10 years, what do you hope we're saying about cricket?
um, we've always just said we want to build generational brand, one that's worth sticking around. We're not a fashion forward brand. We're actually kind of a fashion backward brand in the sense that we're always looking in the past for inspiration. And because of that, I feel like uh we have a reason to kind of continue to grow as we are and kind of build something that I mean people in 10, 15, 20 years will be like, oh man, that brand they've been around for a while, they've been doing it like a really good job, they're like great company. I don't know whether they're founder owned or not, but like just you don't want people to be like, why do they exist? Like, I think I want that question to be easily answered, like
Mm.
to have it make sense. And we may not be the biggest brand in the world, and that doesn't matter to us. It's like we just want to have a reason to be, and I think we have that now, and just to continue along that path, and continue to grow and have a great company that people are proud to work at, and for me personally, to hopefully still be involved.
Love that. Well, tell us what's coming down the line for cricket. We got, like you said, we got Masters coming up. You guys probably have, I know you've got new stuff out. Obviously, we're spring now. Summer's going to be coming up. So tell us kind of what's coming up for you guys and then where people, we tell them every week, I guess, but most weeks at least. But tell them where they can find it, where they can pick some stuff up. We obviously got the coupon code, folks. Go check it out. For
Hmm.
love of 19.
Yeah.
But
Threw that
talk to us
19 in
about,
there. We all love the 19. So I thought that was and it is a 19% discount,
yeah,
right?
that's a
You don't get
legit
that. You don't
discount.
get that every day.
No, we've had that comment. That is a legitimate discount. 19% off. Go get it. Grab it up.
Go get it. Yeah.
So yeah, what's up with what's going on with Cricket? What's 2026 look like for you guys?
Well, we got a lot of new products, launching in the next 2 months. Spring is always a big time for us. Obviously golf focused stuff, a lot of lifestyle, a lot of, hanging by the pool, terry cloth, lots of pearl snaps. No, not overly Western. You can wear them everywhere. We got a lot of customers in New York who wear, pearl snaps. And that leads into the fall, and fall is always a huge
Mm.
time of year for us with all of our cool layering and
Hmm.
um, you know, super excited about the golf season. I know this will air probably after the weekend, but our guy Steven Yeager's defending his Houston Open title from 2 years ago, not last year,
Oh, nice.
uh, when he beat out Scotty Scheffler. He had a good round today. We're excited to see what he can do this year. Hopefully, some good things on the golf course, and um, yeah. Oh, we have a. It's coming up the end of April, and we're pretty excited about it. It's a partnership with a very elderly, famous musician from Austin, Texas, one of the most famous musicians in the world, quite honest. I'm not going to ask you to name him. If you let your wheel spin, he likes to wear his hair long and a big beard, and maybe a
I think I got it.
bandana. But like we
Yeah.
got a pretty cool thing coming up at the end of April.
Nice.
I don't know if I can officially announce it, but super excited about that.
That is
Very
very
good.
cool. I'm always a Steven Yeager fan. Justin and I both worked at the Honors, and I was there
Mm.
when he was in school at UTC, and obviously they played out there a bit. I don't know if they ever hosted a tournament, but they were out there all the time, obviously playing, and so I'm always pulling for him. So good to hear that
He is a
he's
good
doing
dude.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and like a cool story too. Like I mean, like he really kind of reinvented himself a little bit there after early on in tour, started to get a lot longer driving stuff, like
He's
made some big
crushing the
changes
ball.
and just like now, yeah, now he hits it along. He's probably, below average beforehand and now he's significantly above average. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I need to
Yeah.
get on that plan.
Yeah, you do.
I have
That
to,
stack, man. Get that
I have to
stack
get
going.
him a call.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Billy, this was great. Thank you for doing this. We've been looking forward to it, obviously. And I know you got some exciting personal stuff coming up, so congratulations on that.
Oh yeah, thank
And
you. Thank you.
we're glad to be a small part of cricket, and we're glad that you guys are, you know, part of our family too. So thank you very much for what you guys are doing for us.
Absolutely appreciate it. You guys are onto a good thing here, and hey, I'm going to use the word we've been using a lot. You guys have a good vibe, so it's easy to talk to
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.
And anytime you want me back, I'm happy to be here.
Thank
Cool.
you. We will definitely do it again. And until then, signing off, and thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.
See y'all.